Hello everyone, this is Theophilus and welcome back to my channel. Forgive me if the camera or the lighting isn't looking too good. Still kind of working on that. But the emphasis is the message and not exactly the quality of what the video looks like. So, I haven't been active in a while. A few months actually. And you may be wondering, okay, what's going on? Is he just not being consistent? Is he just being lazy? Does he have a lot going on? What's happening? And you could argue the answer is all three of those. But the main thing is just my situation. Now, I'm not here to complain, to whine, to get you to boo-hoo for me, to make you believe that I'm just a helpless victim of all of my circumstances. No, absolutely not. I believe the opposite. I mean, I practice it as much as I should, but I do believe the opposite, that no matter a man's circumstances, especially a man, an adult male, you have the power to change your circumstances. Unless you're a literal slave or a war captive or something like that, or you're constrained to something like I don't know, like, even if you're constrained by family or you're in some kind of group, these things don't actually limit you. I mean, they can be in the way, but they don't automatically limit you. And a lot's happened recently. I was at a point where I was doing decently financially. I had a good amount of money saved up, and I started to experiment in spending that money. Now, did I spend some of it on pleasure? Absolutely. Not gonna lie about that. But a good amount of it was just practicing. Right? When I have this much coming in and this much coming out, how do I make the situation better? If I decide to spend a little bit more this much, am I able to get it back that kind of thing, right? I was going through that for a few months, and I think it's good for any man that gets just a few $1,000s, like $5,000, to be willing to just spend it. Now try to keep at least $1,000 in your account, for emergency. If you got to get, driven somewhere, if you got to be picked up, if your vehicle has to be towed or something, keep at least a little bit in your pockets, right? Family emergency, etc. And if you got over $1,000, you should be willing to just spend it on not on dumb things, but to experiment, right? To learn, even experience life, even experience, just going somewhere with friends or a girl you're interested in or family, or just being nice. I don't think that you should be really trying to just focus on only stacking, unless you have an actual goal in mind. Like, when I get to this much money, I'm going to invest this much to this, I'm going to invest this much into this. Or when I get to this much money, I'm going to buy this vehicle or this house, right? Those are the only reason I recommend just stacking. If you don't have vision in sight, but you're just in all self-development in general, then I don't see the point of just stacking all this money when you don't even know what you're going to spend it on. If you have nothing else to do, then sure. But if you don't want to just be to yourself all the time and to be lonely, the male loneliness is a real thing, man. A lot of young men feel like disenfranchised. We feel like we have no one around us that understands us, that knows what we're going through. There's attacks on male friendship, on masculine guidance of the young men. There's attacks on masculinity from all angles, and I'm not here to really get into that deeply. But I'm just saying that I understand what it's like to feel alone. I felt that way for months at a time. And it's tough. It's not easy. But you are able to get through it. And you are able to push through it, even at the risk of your own mental health. Unfortunately. Because as much as this society may pretend, they don't actually care about men. That's very clear, very true, and very transparently seen. We live in a society that focuses on putting women up and putting men down at men's expense and children's expense. But even though we're all in the circumstance, even though we live in Western society in the 21st century, that's okay. We can still make it out. And on the journey of self-development, there's a lot of obstacles, man. There's a lot of things that are going to get in your way. Unexpected turns, maybe opening up to this person you shouldn't have opened up to, and being in this kind of relationship situationship thing that takes like 6 months to get through and then like 2 years to heal from, or a sudden family emergency where you got to take care of this family member, and because you're the man, everyone wants to put the load on your back, and that's just how it's always went since the dawn of human time. Men have always borne the load. Men have always been the stress bearers. Men have always been the problem solvers, as much as we may not want to acknowledge this. This is a historical fact. So, I guess what I'm trying to say in this beginning is I'm not advocating for anyone, especially myself, to be the victim to the circumstance. Yet, I'm in the circumstance nonetheless. So, I've gotten a job in the beginning of March. A little bit about recent past. I was working a restaurant job. I was working for restaurants. Then I was working a restaurant job for a couple months, and then I got hired at this new job where I work in customer service, and I also do preventative maintenance on vehicles. All right. Kind of a fancy word of saying, and not exactly an unofficial mechanic, but kind of like an unofficial mechanic. You're not like licensed to do things, but you do things that normal people probably shouldn't be doing on their own vehicles. You know, like even something as simple as an oil change. I've seen people come in and they try to like use like a regular like hand wrench to like get their drain plug off, and they've messed their drain plug up and it's destroyed. Even something simple as an oil change. Unless you really know what you're doing, you shouldn't be messing with your vehicle like that. Unless it's just taking out a filter, adding some coolant, adding some oil, you shouldn't mess with your vehicle like that. You should go to someone that knows how to do it, or you should be carefully looking up how to do it, or learning from someone that knows how to do it, or training to one day be able to do it. But yeah, I do preventative maintenance, customer service, sales, etc. Right? A little teeny bit of mechanics, but I'm learning a lot about vehicles. And as I went through this time where I had a good amount of money, like a good few thousand saved up, and I started spending it little by little on experiences and investing into myself as well. I've invested a good amount. I like to say I've invested at least 2, 3, maybe $5,000 into myself over the past 6 months, and that's excellent. I advocate for any young man doing that. If you got $5,000, invest $3,000 into yourself. Spend $1,000 on experiences, sure, because you're a young man, and it's just what it is. A lot of us can be dumb. A lot of us make dumb decisions. Many of us know, okay, I should not mess with this woman. This guy he may not have gotten actually burned, but might have gotten psychologically or metaphorically burned messing with this woman. Yeah, this woman's so hot, I want to mess with her, and she's on me. It happens, bro. We it's like many of us like to learn either the hard way or the harder way, you know. And the hardest way is just to never even think about learning a lesson. The harder way is to know what you're doing is wrong or dumb or messed up and to still do it, but knowing, okay, this is probably going to transpire on me. This is probably going to hurt me in the future. Let me at least mentally prepare for what's going to happen, right? Or there's a harder way, which is just resisting the temptation to do the thing that you know you shouldn't do and to do the thing that you should do. In fact, that's arguably the hardest way, because even though it may help you in the long run, you know, whether it's fitting in or missing out on this experience, feeling that you've lost this experience and this time you'll never get back. I know I'm kind of being long-winded, but I haven't talked in a few months, you know, and I don't really have friends to talk to about deep things like this, so I'm talking to y'all. Hope y'all don't mind. And I am speaking a lot. But yeah, be willing to invest money in yourself. And if you're young, be willing to invest into a relationship. This is something a lot of people are against, and yeah, it can hurt you. Yeah, women can hurt you. Yes, women can take your heart out of your chest and rip it into teeny tiny pieces. But you kind of need that experience, bro. Like, you need to, like, sure, don't mess with the psychotic woman that's going to clearly, evidently destroy your life. But if you really want to sleep with a girl, do it safe, you know. Either do the protection or make sure you know and trust this person, you know. Make sure she's not too psychotic, so that if you sleep with her, she's not going to be knocking on your window at 3 o'clock in the morning or something crazy like that, or stalking you, or catching feelings for a temporary experience, which women are prone to do, right? Things like sex are very emotional to them. In fact, I would argue that women enjoy sex on a deeper level than men when they actually enjoy sex. Most women don't enjoy the sex they're having, but when women have sex with someone that they enjoy having sex with, I do believe they experience it on a much, much, much deeper psychological and emotional level than men ever can. Like, we can feel things, yeah, but it's mostly just what we're feeling, there and a little bit here. We're not really feeling the deep emotions. Even if we're opening up, it's still mainly a physical mind thing, not as much of a heart thing, if you will. So I've been doing that, and I've gotten to a point to where I have still a little bit of money saved up, but I want to be careful, right? Because you don't ever want to let your bank account reach zero. It's one of the worst things that can happen as a man. You do not want your bank account to hit zero unless you live with a good family, your phone bill's taken care of, your car is going to be taken care of. You're not going to need a job for a good month at least. You don't want to let your bank account hit zero. You want to at least have a few hundred in there, right? And the job I've been working, I'm moving up little by little, right? Getting a few little raises here and there. Moving up in terms of being potentially a manager in the future. This is good. This is something good that'll last me for the next year or two. Something that'll keep me going, keep me able to make enough to pay my bills and save a little bit, right? So it's good. But the job I'm pushing 50, maybe 55 hours a week. 45 to 55 hours a week. And I pushed those hours before. It's not that much of a problem. It's more so the fact that I'm so deeply injured already. I know I've shared about my injuries, but just in case you don't know, I have injury in the center of my back from pushing too much on a bench press and then just working really hard jobs. Like, I worked at a sawmill for two years, and a tree service as well. Or, I've hurt my glute area, which then went to my spine and my lower back, and then it was spread it out to my hips, right? And then my glutes, where they call the V-taper, that area, the groin area, that's pretty injured. And it makes it hard for me just to do everyday things, like walk around, move a 50-pound box, for example, right? So things have been tough, and I've been prioritizing my personal well-being. Though this is a good part of my personal well-being, I haven't prioritized it enough. My physical well-being, trying to get back into fitness. Right now I got one of these. Put my pillow back on my back. Get my back off the bed rail. But yeah, I've been getting one of those. These little arm things. I turn to a certain setting to where it's hard enough to do, but it's not too difficult. I do 5 sets of 10. Getting my grip strength up. That's something I can work out. That's something that's not too injured, right? Planks. I don't know what they call it. Superman. Something where you do you put the trunk of your neck up. And you stretch. You might know what I'm talking about. Doing little things like that. I might get back into push-ups. I might get my dumbbell out of my roommate's room and start using that. Little things where I can exercise the parts of my body that are not that injured. Like my hands, right? My hands, certain parts of my arms. This part of my arm, right? This part of my arm. My chest isn't too injured. You know what I'm saying? Those are the part of me I know aren't that injured. Maybe my feet, I could do little mobility exercises, right? Things that aren't going to weaken me too much, right? To where I'll injure myself further, and things that are still difficult enough to where I'm going to actually get stronger in that area, right? Could start training my jaw more, and maybe part of my neck, those parts of my body aren't that injured. So I'm able to do little things like that. But mainly stretching. I've been learning a lot about deep stretching, almost yoga-like meditative stretching, deep tissue stretching, where I feel like I'm reaching through injuries that have been with me for 3 years straight, A lot of deep stretching, a lot of focus, a lot of just sitting in silence, a lot of understanding my own mind and my own psychology. Guys, you can use ChatGPT to understand your psychology. A lot of people talk down on ChatGPT and say, like, oh, it's just going to justify it. It's going to tell you what you want to hear. Yeah, it will start off that way, but you have to train it to talk to you how you want it to talk. You can say, hey, my name's Theophilus. I'm a 24-year-old man. I live in this circumstance. This is what my upbringing was like. This is what my mind continues to do. These are the things I want to work on. These are the things I want to make progress in. I don't want to focus on that. I do want to focus on this. These are my strengths. These are my weaknesses. Talk to me. And then it'll literally talk to you for hours, helping you understand things about your mindset and your psychology that you couldn't even fathom, that you wouldn't even think to ask yourself. Why do I do this? Maybe I have this wound from years back that is made a subtle imprint on my psychology that makes me act like this, that makes me think like this. Deep down, I'm believing this about myself, and that's why I'm not performing well in this area. Deep down, I'm believing this, which is why when this happens, I fall back and I draw back into temptation. Or when this happens, is why I'm not boldly braving forward. It'll help you understand your own psychology in such a deep way. And it's also good for business. Please use it. Even the free version. That's slow and laggy. You could do that while you BS. If you're going to be scrolling TikTok, you could type it in and wait for the thing to load for 5 minutes, then stop and let it tell you about your own psychology. So you can sit there and understand your own mind better, because that's where it all starts. As Andrew Tate said, if you cannot control your mind, you're like a feather tossed in the wind, man. Life's just going to carry you. Happy place to sad place. Happy place to sad place. If your body's in a boat, you need to be like astral projecting into a drone that looks down and sees your body in the water, so that when you have this circumstance and that circumstance, you're not that moved by the happy or the sad or the good or the bad. You're focused on you and your mind. That's what stoicism is. That's what masculinity is. That's what all men need to be able to do. And that's just being attacked, unfortunately, by people that are ironically the toxically masculine ones themselves, perpetuating a false sense of masculinity on young men that is destroying their minds and their wills. I work about 50 hours a week now. I've spent a good amount of my money, and I'm glad I spent it. Well spent money. I've been focusing on my relationship with my girlfriend, which I wasn't going to talk about now. I have a girlfriend, and I do have a few partners as well. But I've been focusing on my relationships more so learning to just kind of let myself go. In the sense of, okay, I've tested this woman for this much time. It seems very clear that she's actually very in love and obsessed and psychologically attached and infatuated with me. Very, very, very clear. Okay, let me relax. Let me open up to her a little bit, and a little bit, and a little bit. Like 6 months into the relationship, let me open up to her a little bit. And then she loves who you are even more and on a deeper level. And that's how love should be. But the problem is, you shouldn't invest all your all in all into a woman you just met. You shouldn't even be opening up to her until maybe like 6 months in, to where she's comfortable enough with you that she doesn't just want the illusion that she infatuates about. She actually wants to know the deep you, so she can actually love the deeper parts of you, and not just her projection on who she thinks she is, who she thinks you is, who she thinks you are. Not just falling in love with that projection in her mind, but actually falling in love with the real you, and wanting to grow and learn and love and build a relationship with the real you, right? That's how love actually works. I have been a little lazy, I will be honest. Pleasure's been getting me, I will admit. I've experienced some life-changing pleasure, and I've learned a lot about myself and things that I like and the kind of lifestyle that I want. And one realization I've come to, I know this is a freestyle, but please bear with me, is just looking at what's going on with Andrew Tate. That, forgive my language, that shit hurts my soul deeply. What's going on with that man? How corrupt and disgusting these governments are. I despise them. All of them. though I am an American, and I still stand with America to some extent, and I'm an American citizen. It is what it is, and I'm glad that I'm born in America. A lot of black people want to shit on and hate white people, but at the end of the day, I'm glad I was born in America. I'm glad that I'm Theophilus I'm glad that I am who I am. Quick controversial opinion. It was called the transatlantic slave trade, right? Like, our ancestors were already slaves in Africa, and then they got traded to America, right? Like, that, right? I hope you know that. If you're enslaved to this hate white people doctrine, that you kind of wake up to that, hey, man, our ancestors didn't exactly love us either. It is what it is. I still love the African culture. I'm glad that I'm black. I love my melanin. I love my skin tone. I love dark-skinned women. Those are women that I'm most sexually attracted to. And the African culture is just beautiful. It's wonderful. It's lovely. I love being African American. I love who I am. I love exactly who I am. I love my exact thing to my exact stature, being exactly 5'5". I love everything about me. I love me. I'm glad that I'm me. I don't want to be anybody else. But I'm also glad that I grew up in America. And it truly is a blessing to be born into a first world country. And we're not even grateful that we've had that. I'm thankful. I thank God. Even for the bad, even for the horrible things that I've had to my ancestors, because it just allowed me to be in this position where we have more pleasures on a daily basis that kings 500 years ago didn't even have. I'm feeling there's like a lot that I'm going to unpack in this video, and it's good. I've been focusing on that. I have been giving into pleasure more, I will be honest. And the reason I justify it is because I've been pretty much stuck financially. And even sitting up to make this video, it hurts my injuries. My abdomen, it may sound like I'm whiny, you may say, brother, shut up and make the video. But just being honest, even sitting up like this does hurt my injury. And my abdomen, my core has gotten a lot stronger over the past few months. Or a little bit stronger, to where I can sit up like this. But, say like a month ago, it wasn't. It was sitting up to make a video like this, I might stretch for like an hour just to like kind of get that pain and that that inflammation kind of calmed down. But I'm getting better, a lot better. And I thank God for it, truly. God has been very good to me. Or the universe, whatever you want to call it. Him. Or if you want to say her. It doesn't matter that much to me. Meditation really helps. I don't exactly meditate very much, but just stopping and breathing throughout your day. I did that for like 10 minutes while I was meeting up with the mechanic to work on my vehicle today. I was on my phone scrolling, and I like play the games, and I listened to some music. And I might have looked at my notes, I might have listened to some educational content. Hold on. I just sat there and focused on my breathing for like 10 minutes. I felt focused. Like if you're ever meditating and focus on your breath, don't be like waiting and expecting for like the anger or the stress to stop. And a lot of times it doesn't stop. And a lot of times you may be feeling more of the stress that you're like trying to hide from or run away from when you scroll or you smoke or you vape or you're just watching pornography or whatever you're doing, or just being social and eating a lot of food, which you're distracting yourself from when you meditate. For me personally, like, you feel it more. Like the stress that you've been bearing, you feel it on a deeper level, and you're like in touch, like you're fellowshipping with the stress, like you're becoming one with the stress, kind of. And you're just being present in who you are. That's what I believe Bruce Lee says when he says be like water. It's not just like be calm, right? It's focus on you, the now. Focus on what's in you, right? If you have water filling you up, the water's going to take the shape of your body, right? if you're in a water jug, the water's going to take up the shape of the jug, right? So if there's anger inside of you, let the anger be a part of you. Don't fight the anger. Understand the anger. Become one with the anger, right? Use the anger as energy, then direct it like a hydroelectric system into the right place. You can turn that anger into drive, hunger, motivation, internal motivation that doesn't just die when you feel a little sad. If you feel sad, sit there and think about it. Reflect on that sadness. Understand the sadness. Understand that the sadness is a part of you, right? It's your sadness. Got to be one with it. You can't hate it. You can't hide it. You can't fight it. Reflect on it. Don't let it consume you, but focus. Become one with it. It's a part of you. Don't hate yourself. Love every part of you. And if you're Christian, you may say this isn't even the right advice. And sure, right? The Bible says hate your life that you might find it, right? The Bible says you must hate your sinful flesh. And I'm actually telling you the opposite, to be one with your sinful flesh. So it's up to you if you follow this advice or not. Kind of like the yin and yang kind of belief, bro. There's no light without darkness. There's no good without evil. There's these opposing forces that live inside of you, and you're going to have to be in touch with all of you. There's no masculine without the feminine, right? Not saying that a man has to be all fully in touch with his feminine side, or a female should be all in touch with her masculine side. But understand that there are parts of you that you may run from, that you may want to reject and say, oh, that's not me, that's not me. It is you. You just got to realize who you are. I know who I am. I know what I like to do. I know what I'm about. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. And I'm okay and I'm comfortable with any part of myself. I don't hide or reject it. I don't reject me. I don't hate me. I don't despise me. I love me because I am awesome. I am Theophilus. I'm beautiful and amazing. You got to say that about yourself. You got to have that confidence, that internal belief that you are that person. You are that guy. You are that woman. You're that man. You're that young man. You're that young woman. But yeah, it's good that I'm reflecting and expressing and not repressing it right now. But yeah, I bought a car recently with a good amount of the last bit of my money that I had saved up. And it has almost 200,000 miles on it. A lot of people think that the vehicle's toast, that it's done for, but it runs good. It runs good. And I'm learning how to take care of my vehicle. I'm learning all the preventative maintenance on my vehicle. I'm learning how to fix the things that can make it last another 5,000, 10,000 miles. If it can last another 10,000, 20,000 miles, it's done its part. So, the past 2 weeks I've been having a lot of responsibilities just dealing with the vehicle. A lot of responsibilities. A lot of little problems and minor inconveniences. Today I thought I was going to get this thing fixed, but it turns out that the part that it came with was the wrong parts, and I had to order the part. I have another part coming tomorrow. I got to fix this. I got to fix that. Then I got to drive it. Then I got to get my inspection. I got to do this, and I got to do that, and I got to do this thing for the gas, and I got to do this thing with the brakes, and I got to do this thing with the motor. Then I got to stop these leaks. Then I got to oil change, and I got to get all the fluids checked again. It's just a lot of work, and a lot of responsibility that takes up time and mental energy, and I can be frustrated, but it's a process, and I have to learn as I deal with it. As I'm the man that this obstacle is going to make me into the man that I need to be. And working on this vehicle is going to yield a worthy return on investment, because this vehicle should last me another 10,000 miles. 5 years. 24 years old. Hey, that'll push me till 30. By the time I'm 30, I should be successful. And yeah, I've been having more partners and more fun experiences, but I've also been learning to focus, right? Like, pleasure isn't a bad thing, right? Pleasure isn't a bad thing. It's, are you letting the pleasure control you to where it's impulsive and you can't stop yourself from seeking pleasure all day, every day, right? Pleasure is a part of the life. Relationships are a part of life. But how do you navigate them? Can you visit that world maybe an hour in the morning and an hour at night, even though that's a lot of time? And then get back and get up and go to work and then focus on this business and focus on that and learn about this and make progress on that and learn about this and understand yourself and understand people better. If you're able to do it, then do it. You know, I've invested a lot of time into my new relationship with my girlfriend over the past 6 months. And now that I know for sure how much this woman loves me, hey, this relationship might save me in the next 5 years. Say I get to $20,000 a month in the next 2 years, right? Say I get to $20K a month, making over $200K a year. I'm in the top 1% of income, right? The women are all over me. I can afford the best training. I can afford the best nutrients. I can afford the best vehicle, and to live in the somewhat nicest places. Women are flocking to me and fawning to me because they see, oh, I am that guy. But now they're realizing it because they see the fruits, they see the results. Even though some were seeing it back then, they were like keeping their eye on you, and now they see it and they're running to you. They're chilling at the finish line after you've won the race. If this woman was with me back then, when I was broke, when I was a brokey, when I was nobody, then I know that I can trust her. Yeah. Good investment, bro. Good investment. Good investment. Yeah, if you're completely broke, yeah, you can just ignore women, bro. Don't even talk to them. If you're completely broke, or you're less than like a 6 in attractiveness, right? Or your body's really, really not good, then yeah, you can absolutely ignore women until you get to a place where, say you get to a place where your body's looking okay, right? So you get to a place where your body is, I'm just moving positions because my abdomen's starting to be irritated. So you get to a place where, say, a month straight you've been consistent in a gym, and maybe you're 600 pounds. Maybe you're 600 pounds, or maybe you're 100 pounds at like 5'5", which is pretty unhealthy. So you're like 100 pounds, right? But you're making progress. You're building your confidence. And you could talk to the cute girl next to you, or the grandmother, or the old man next to you at the grocery store. You could smile at the cashier and make a joke, right? Sales is an excellent way to get comfortable with people. An excellent way, because it forces you to be comfortable with people. The most gorgeous woman you've ever seen might just walk through the door, and you might be the one person that has to be with her for 2 hours, talking to her about this, explaining this, helping her get this, trying to help her get that. It really forces you out of your comfort zone in a really good way, and it's a fantastic way to build your confidence. Absolutely. Sales has done so much for me. I thank God. Even though I've had only 6 to 8 months in sales, I thank God for it. It's so helpful because life is sales. It's beautiful. You know, if I wanted to be your friend, I'd have to be able to convince you through my words and or my actions and my lifestyle that me having you in your life is better than you not knowing, right? Everything is sales. So sales is a really important skill. So yeah, I've been focusing on my relationship, I've been focusing on my body, and just Charlie Morgan makes a video about rest and work. You should absolutely watch that video. He breaks down rest and work into categories of 7, all right? I'd say I'm consistently on a 3 to 5 work every day. I'm probably in zone 3 to 5 work every day. And doing that for 60 hours a week does kind of tire me out. I'm knowing my limits. Around 60 hours a week, that's when that kind of tires me out. I've done it where I've done 70 hours a week, 70, 75 hours a week. But my mind was breaking down. I was slowly losing my mind, and I didn't even acknowledge it until it was almost too late, which was kind of scary. A story for another day. But I know when I've worked so much, my mind starts to kind of crack. It starts to break down. And yes, it is weakness, absolutely, because I pushed my limit, and I'm okay with that. And I'm going to build that strength over time, and I am building that strength. But right now, when I'm working 50 hours a week at my job, and then I'm working extra 2 hours say, extra 1 to 2 hours a day just working on my body, that's already taken so much mental energy from me that I barely have enough energy to think sometimes. Excuse me. Say it's okay, bro. Experience life. Love life. You only live once. You're only going to be this age once. Don't go out and do a bunch of hedonist garbage that's going to destroy you in the future, right? You may not want to like hook up with random girls on Tinder because you could get burned, absolutely. But you're going to talk to a girl, get to know her name, get to know where she's from, get to know the kind of person she is, get a feel for her, talk to her on the phone, video chat her, meet up with her once or twice before you try to go in, bro. That way you at least know what you're getting before you do it. You pass that excitement and learn to think with the right head, man. It'll save you wonders. It'll save you a lot. I've dodged a lot of bullets, man. I've dodged a lot of bullets. Call me Neo from the Matrix, how many bullets I've dodged. Even just being cautious, you know. And I'm getting to a place where I'm really comfortable talking to women that are attractive. Like smiling at them and being charismatic. They're smiling, they're kind of giving me the eyes. But I know at this point in time, I can't really get that involved with women. If a woman's really, really on me, and I know I can like squeeze her in, like once a week I can squeeze a little bit of time with her out, then I'll do that. And I've done that, and that's good. It works good. You know, in the relationship I am with my woman, it's more open, like my way, right? Toxic, whatever, right? But a man's sex drive is a man's sex drive, bro. Like, I could easily go 3 times a day if I wanted to, bro. Easily. But the little bit of discipline I have helps me not do it like that. And just experimenting and having fun really helps. It's good to do this stuff when you're younger, too, so that when you're 30, you're not a social autist and an incel, and you can't even interact with women because you went like 20 years just being weird. It's good to break out of that, bro. It's really good. So yeah, I've been working on my vehicle. That's been taking a lot, and it's looking better for me. I've gotten 1 or 2 raises, more to come in the future, bonuses, etc. as I work my job, and I'm trying to find other avenues as well, because this niche that I'm working, it can take years to build, bro. Like if I had no job and I had enough money, I could probably build something decent in like 6 months. But having to work a job, then having to do this and having to do that and having to do that and barely having time for relationships, it's going to take years to build yourself, bro. And that's something I've had to sit with soberly. And when I was like 21, 22, it would just break me down. I'd just go into depression and start like smoking weed and spending all my time texting girls. But now I can just not do that. Or do it way, 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 way less than I used to. And it doesn't have nearly as much of a grip or control on me. And I get to kind of experience and just live life, you know. And I'm okay living a balanced life. I looked at what happened to Tate, and it's horrible. It's terrible, but I realized I don't exactly want that. That's what it takes to make a few $100 million a year. I don't want that, bro. If I can make $1 million a year, I'm good, bro. If I can make $1 million a year, I'm alright. And maybe I can't get the 10 out of 10. Bro, I'm okay with just 3 or 4 hot 7s, bro. I'm okay with just 4 or 5 hot 7s, bro. Like, I'm alright with that, bro. I'm alright with that. As long as your woman is obsessed with you and attached to you, right, and you're holding frame, right, and she's in love with you, and she's connected to you, and she's attached to you, bro, no man can actually steal your girl, bro. No man can steal your girl as long as that's how the relationship is going. Now, if you start slipping up and the relationship starts going south, yes, she can bounce out and dip immediately. Yes, she can have moved on to you weeks or months before you get that I don't think is working out talk. But as long as your woman's attached to you, bro, and like say you're gonna leave, she's like chasing after you like, no, don't leave me. And she's like obsessed, like attached, like almost like bad shit crazy obsessed with you, bro, you're good, bro. you're good, bro. You're good for at least a good couple months. And I'm not talking about if you're feeling all the lovey-dovey, boopy-bobby, boo-boo baby feelings. I'm talking about if you can tell that she's consistently feeling that way about you, like every day. You know, like wake her up in the middle of the night just to text, and she'll be happy to do that consistently for months at a time. You're good, bro. You don't have to worry about another man taking your girl, bro. At least for now, as long as you keep working. As long as you don't get stagnant and complacent. And yeah, bro, she's yours. Forever. So, yeah, that's pretty much my message. It's going to take you years to build yourself. You've got to have perseverance, man. You got to have patience. You got to be in it for the long haul. You can't get upset when 6 months down the line it looks like you're getting nowhere. You have to think, wow, I might be in this for a lifetime. And that's okay. I might not see success till 2 years from now, but that's okay. As long as you're happy, and as long as you're doing you, and as long as you're making enough money to pay your bills, and you're alright, and your mental health is okay, and you got to have a little bit of experience here and there, then yeah. I've had times where it's a lot harder, and I'm not even enjoying the pleasure that I'm partaking of. And I cut out all the pleasure, and I'm just full in monk grind set mode for a few weeks, and that works. But it's not really as maintainable if you're not that mentally strong and disciplined, you know. Like, they've been like the Tates. They've been doing this kind of stuff for years. That's why they can do it. That's why they can work 18 hours a day and have 10 baby mamas, maybe 30 children. And their legal troubles, being slandered by the internet, and they can deal with it flawlessly because they've been doing this for years. Playing chess at 5 years old. Being in combat training since like 10. Having one of the best fathers, it seems, alive on the earth. Right? Having your brother that's so close to you and you're so connected with him and y'all understand so much and you're like this. Yeah, that's why the Tates can do what they do, bro. That's why they're those guys. Because they've been built. They've been built by their upbringing. They've been built by their father and their role models. And this society does not build men anymore. It tears them down. From 5 years old, they go to school and talk girls are better than them in every single way. And they have to just bow down and worship women all their life. And then when they get older, they should just let women walk all over them and let the nice guy finish last while the big Chad takes their girl. They should just be happy and everything's their fault. And they get all the responsibility with none of the authority. That's bullshit, bro. The society is wrecking you. But you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta be the man. You gotta shine like a star at the end of the day. You gotta be in love with yourself and your future. You gotta do things today that your future self will be thankful for that you did tomorrow. I'm finally in a place where I might start just doing more than just conversating with a girl and knowing she's interested. I might be taking things further and vetting and getting into more relationships. But I'm going to take it one day at a time. So, thank y'all for listening to my rant. I'm going to get back to it. I got work in the morning. But I thank y'all. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.